Assalamualaikum guys, welcome back to our analysis of the Basel III leverage ratio. So this is part 2. So we will continue to look at the issue, and the issue has been the fact that Islamic banking seems to be converging into mainstream banking. The fact that many of the Islamic products seem to be quite similar with the conventional banking product. So we have the Tawarruk deposit is similar to the interest-bearing fixed deposit, and we can see that the Tawarruk financing, whether it is mortgage, whether it is personal financing or credit card, they are very similar to the conventional financing, and this is what is worrying us. We want to know the direction taken by the Islamic banking stakeholders, such as the regulators, the Sharia advisory, as well as the Islamic banking company themselves, because the idea is to apply the conception of al-bay', or to apply the contract of al-bay' in the Islamic banking business, as opposed to the utilization of riba. But then the convergence is kind of apparent, and the public themselves, were asking whether the Islamic banking today is Islamic. They have the right to say so, or to ask this question, because they are simply people on the street wanting to know, what's going on, and the people who are responsible on this issue, namely the regulator, the Sharia advisory, as well as the Islamic banking firm themselves, must be able to come to the front and to deal with this matter. Otherwise, if there is a great misunderstanding, the public may suddenly, misunderstood Islamic banking, and thus not accepting it, as Sharia compliant, or there can be litigation against the bank. So we do not want this tough scenario to take place in Islamic banking, because the initial intention is to apply the Quranic al-bay' over the system of riba. So one of the precursor, to the understanding of the convergence rather than divergence. So we expect to see a divergence of Islamic banking from conventional banking, because that should be the way how the Islamic bank should develop, because the Islamic bank is driven by al-bay', while the conventional bank is based on riba. So there must be a clear divergence of the two systems. The two systems can be competitive, but if there is a convergence of the Islamic system into the conventional system, then this is a rather sad development, and we ought to research and to study why this is happening. So one of the factor that we can look into will be the leverage system, or the leverage money that the bank uses to make loan. So that is the basic modality in any commercial banking. So meaning that the commercial bank uses leverage money or borrowed money supplied by the depositor to make loan, and they are not using their own capital fund to make the loans. Capital funds are more expensive. The cost of equity is about 10 to 15%, whereas the loan rate is about 5%, 6%. So if the bank uses the capital fund to make loan, the cost of fund will be much higher than the loan rate, and the bank will always be making a loss. So this is not a viable model for any bank to use capital fund to make loan. So the leverage system is installed, meaning leverage funding is installed, so that bank is able to acquire a cheaper source of funding, that is deposit. So the bank issue current account deposit, saving account deposit, and fixed deposit. And on average, the cost of deposit are much lower than the loan rate, and the bank would be able to make money or to earn a decent profit from this kind of modality. But the impact on Islamic banking will be quite a disaster, because the Islamic banking is supposed to be driven by al-bay', by the contract of sale, the contract of through sale, the contract of through leasing, partnership, mudarabah, musyarakah, forward sale under the pretext of istisna and salam. And that al-bay' system would not be a viable system if the funding is coming from leverage money. Leverage money is only viable for interest-bearing system. But when it is made for Islamic banking, then for sure the Islamic banking would not be able to operate within that al-bay' ecosystem, where the exposure to business risk, is the rule of the game. Because in leverage funding of conventional banking, when the bank use leverage money or deposit money to make loan, then the bank will be facing financial risk, credit market liquidity. And that would be a model that is suitable for interest-bearing kind of transaction. But using leverage money to make al-bay', that would be a disaster. That would not be possible for the Islamic bank to use deposit fund or leverage money to do through sale, to do through lease, to do partnership. And that is why we see there's a lot of legal device or hila, there's a lot of legal exit or makhraj, utilized by the Sharia advisory to help the bank navigate its way, into the so-called, ordinary banking transaction, where bank will make loan with collateral, with guarantees, or if the loans are unsecured and without guarantees, then the bank will charge higher rate and vice versa. So that kind of transaction, risky loan, would charge higher loan rate. Loan with lower risk will be charged with lower loan rate. So that is the ordinary conventional banking that the Islamic bank is trying to emulate through the various, attempt through the methodology of hila and makhraj, where the Islamic bank finally end up with using bay' al-ina and tawarruk, that seems to converge the Islamic bank into mainstream banking. So we do not want to see this to happen in the long run. Maybe in the shorter run we can tolerate the so-called irregular behavior of the Islamic system, but over the long run there must be some positive development where the Islamic bank should be able to find its way out or its natural path towards al-bay'. And that, of course, will be through the use of equity fund or in the investment account fund to do the al-bay', right? So there's no need to use hila or makhraj in order to do al-bay', because the investment account fund, the appetite of the fund is similar to the appetite of the al-bay', such that we can see that this would be the way forward for Islamic banking. But now, when the Islamic bank keep on using leverage money to make aitab, or to make tawarruk, or to make murabaha, then we will see that the Islamic banking business will be conducting similar banking operation, and there's nothing much difference between Islamic banking and conventional banking. And I think the conventional banking seems to be comfortable because it is boosting their profit, and there is no so-called serious offenses from the public with regards to their current commitment to the Islamic banking Sharia compliance system, but we want to see, in the longer run, that the Islamic banking can indeed, prove that al-bay' can be applied in the banking business. But this would be through the use of the investment account fund to fund the al-bay' activity, such as through sale, through lease, partnership, salam, and istis. Now, as for now, if we were using the leverage money to do al-bay', it will, a suicidal cause, and that shouldn't be, tolerated, and we should move forward, to allow a new way to introduce al-bay' into the Islamic banking system, because they will be very beneficial to economic development, employment creation, the removal of poverty, and the securing of financial stability. Okay, guys, I'll see you again in part 3 to further look into this leverage ratio. Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum.